Hey everybody, I'm Wizard. So I just wanted to do a quick update. Since holiday season is coming up, um, my content will probably slow down a little bit, or at least change. Um, I lost my grandmother earlier this year, so the holiday season's going to be a little bit rough for my family. Um, First holiday season without her kind of thing. But to keep the channel alive, I was thinking I'd try reading a chapter of a book every once in a while, just to keep some videos going. I try to post weekly. Now, around Christmas, I am going to take a break entirely from YouTube to spend time with family. But until then, I would like to keep something on the channel so the YouTube algorithm might treat me a little better. Um, yeah. And I need to learn how to read out loud, so I figured I'd read books. My grandfather asked me to read out loud to him some, so I do need to get in the practice of it more. I'm not the best reader. But yeah, so I figured I would do that, and the first book starting out would be Jack Staples. I have no idea if that's actually reversed in the camera. It's Jack Staples in The Ring of Time. I'm sorry if the camera is reversing things. I'm filming in a closet at my grandparents' and reading a book with the camera facing at me, so I know that it's actually pointed towards me. Not the best setup. I might get a better one later if y'all like these videos. But anyway, about the book. So the thing on the back says 11-year-old Jack's ordinary life is upended when he's whisked into a fantastical adventure filled with danger. Jack learns that most people live in the shadow of the world, their vision blinded by invisible scales. But the awakened experience the world as it truly is, and are searching for the child of prophecy who will both save the world and destroy it. When Jack joins the battle, he must learn to trust his friends and face his fears if he is to make his life count. It's written by Batterson Clark. I really love these books. There are 3 of them in the series. This will probably be my either 3rd or 4th time reading them through. I have a ton of fun with these. So I figured I'd try to start with them since I see them or used to see them as an easy read. I haven't had much time to read in the past few years, so who knows. But I really like this book. It's so much fun. Okay, so here we go. Chapter 1, A Night to Remember. Oh, hang on. There are these cool, letters. I can't see. Can you see it there? But yeah, there's these cool letters. That one has a J and an S. But yeah, it kind of shows who's talking right then. Anyway. A Night to Remember. A blackbird fluttered through the open window of an enormous circus tent. Only one boy out of the hundreds of men, women, and children sitting inside noticed. The boy was a... Hang on. Bear with me here. The boy was as thin as a rail with bushy brown hair and bright blue eyes. His name was Jack Staples, and today was his 11th birthday. Jack sat sandwiched between his 14-year-old brother Parker and his mother, whose age he did not know. No one else in the crowd had noticed the bird because their attention was drawn to the center of the tent, where a girl in a crimson hooded cloak walked along the the rope suspended between two platforms. The girl's daring walk was the only part of what had the onlookers so entranced. I am so sorry. I'm not that good at this. I'm trying to get better. Not far beneath her tightrope, two lions, one with a golden mane and the other's black, circled and snarled. As the girl walked the rope, the beasts leaped and swiped their razor-sharp claws, barely missing her feet. With each miss, they roared their frustration, and the crowd gasped in fear. Encircling the lions was a blazing ring of fire, and just outside the flames were 4 tumblers. Each held a torch and moved continuously, somersaulting and leaping about to ensure the beasts stayed within the circle of flames and away from the watching crowd. Jack should have been mesmerized by the death-defying spectacle, yet he was becoming more irritated by the second. As the girl balanced near the center of the rope, bringing the bottoms of her feet closer to the lion's claws with every step, Jack couldn't stop his eyes from drifting upward. The annoying blackbird was still flapping about near the tent ceiling. This girl, thought Jack, is only a moment away from being eaten, and here I am looking at a stupid bird. Jack's eyes shot downward as the crowd gasped. The girl flailed her arms, trying to regain her balance. Jack clutched his brother's hand as the rope pitched and swayed beneath her. Throughout the tent, the crowd shouted instructions and words of encouragement. Just as it seemed the girl was sure to plunge to her death, she stretched out her right leg and stood on the toes of her left foot. Amazingly, these movements allowed her to regain balance. A collective sigh of relief rose from the stands as the balancing girl took the final step to the center of the rope. The beasts bounded upward, gnashing their teeth and roaring wildly. Outside the flames, the tumblers flipped and spun as their blurred torches sent sparks hurling in every direction. Jack didn't breathe. Even when something hard and cold bumped against his leg from beneath the bleachers, he barely noticed. As the tightrope walker crouched low, she wrapped her crimson cloak around her body. At the same moment, the tumblers gave a final leap before also dropping to their knees. The black-maned lion roared as both beasts bounded upward, snapping their jaws at the girl, taunting them from above. Yet the girl also leaped high, spreading her crimson cloak wide and performing the most magnificent spinning backflip. As she landed, the rope pitched dangerously beneath her, but she maintained her balance. And when she extended her arms wide, the crimson cloak enveloping each, making her look like a bird with wings outstretched. From beneath her hood, the girl grinned widely. For a moment, perfect silence hung inside the circus tent. Even the stupid bird was quiet. And then, as if it was the easiest thing in the world, the tightrope walker stood tall and bowed, giving an extravagant flourish of her cloak. The crowd roared their praise, and Jack let out a sigh of relief. When the poised girl turned to continue up the rope to the opposite side of the platform, she made it look as if the rope were as wide as a road and she didn't have a care in the world. The applause grew into a crescendo as men threw hats and children high into the air. I was so scared, Jack had to yell to be heard above the cheers of the crowd. Me too, shouted Parker. Did you see how close those claws came? Parker made a growling sound and curled his hand into a claw, mimicking the lion's. Jack laughed as his eyes drifted to the ceiling once more. The blackbird was still flapping about and screeching loudly. As the girl continued her walk to safety, the ridiculous bird rammed into the ceiling one final time, then plummeted downward in a daze. Crouching low on the sandy ground was the black-maned lion. Its eyes were also locked on the falling bird. With a new target in sight, the beast leaped higher than ever before, and though it missed the bird, it managed to chomp through the tightrope. Shrill screams erupted as the lion landed on the sandy ground. Fingers pointed towards the dazed girl who was now lying between the two beasts. The lion seemed puzzled at the girl's presence, yet it was only when the four tumblers leaped into the ring of fire that the beasts became angry. The tumblers stood shoulder to shoulder, shouting as they whirled their torches with dizzying speed, thrusting them forward in a threatening manner. As the lions stood their ground, but the lions stood their ground. No matter how close the men came, the beast refused to back away from the girl. They paced in front of her, roaring at the approaching men. The tumblers were now so close to the lions that they could have touched the beast with their firebrands, yet the lions swiped at the torches, refusing to move. As the men took another step forward, both lions let out a defiant roar and turned and took 3 steps towards the now unguarded ring of fire, and jumped. The crowd surged into motion, people screaming and running wildly in every direction. The lions' roars were like thunder as they pounded into the mass of men, women, and children, nipping and swiping at anyone unfortunate enough to be in their way. Jack was terrified. His mother grabbed his hand, as well as Parker's, and began running towards the exit. Even without the lions, though, the run was perilous. The crowd had become frantic. Everyone sprinted blindly with no regard for those around them. It was chaos. Jack's mother skidded to a stop and knelt and pulled the boys close. Let me reread that. Jack's mother skidded to a stop, knelt, and pulled the boys close. Both boys close. I can't read that sentence today. Oh my gosh. As the panicked crowd sprinted past, Jack could see where she was looking. On the far side of the tent, a young girl sat on the sandy ground, screaming. A short distance away, the golden lion stalked slowly towards the girl. Jack's mother placed Parker's hand over his. "Parker," she shouted, "take your brother and get him out of here. I need to go help that girl." As the crowd rushed past, bumping and jostling them without a care, Jack's mother bent and kissed each of them on the forehead. "Make your way to the wagon, and I'll meet you there as soon as I can." Without another word, she gently shoved them in the direction of the exit, then turned and ran back for the girl. Jack was panicked. Parker dragged him a few steps towards the exit, but Jack escaped his brother's grasp and ran backward, desperate to find his mother in the crowd. What is she doing? He wondered. She's going to be eaten by the lion. Parker caught up to Jack and tugged his arm, shouting, "We have to keep running." Jack hadn't realized he'd stopped. When he turned to continue his run, the fabric walls of the circuit tent burst into flames. Someone must have knocked over one of the lampstands, he realized. Both boys shared a fearful look as the fire spread quicker than Jack could have imagined. They bolted forward again as the flames shot towards the ceiling and thick smoke filled the air. Jack struggled to keep his feet as Parker was knocked to his knees, only to get up again and continue running. Jack looked over his shoulder one last time in hopes of finding his mother, but she was lost amid the smoke and hysteria. As he turned back, he collided headfirst with someone's elbow. Bouncing backwards, Jack landed flat on his back. Bouncing backward, Jack landed flat on his back on the sandy ground. For a moment, everything went dark. Then, as his vision returned, he felt disoriented. He stared at the ceiling in a daze. It was positively beautiful. Bright flames danced far above as bits of fire and ash fell all around. He lay on his back, watching in wonder, the flaming walls and ceiling seemingly spinning around him. "Jack!" someone screamed, interrupting his cloudy thoughts. "You put me down! Jack, can you hear me?" The voice screamed again. "Why are the walls on fire? And why does my head hurt?" Jack's mind felt sluggish. "Jack, get up! I'm telling you, put me down!" The same voice shouted again, yet this time it sounded farther away. I recognized that voice. That's Parker. As he sat up and looked for his brother, tears leaked from his eyes. The air was filled with billowing smoke and was growing thicker by the second. "You let me go! That's my brother in there! Let me go!" Jack finally saw him. Parker was in the arms of a large man who was carrying him away like a sack of grain. His brother hit the man with his fists and continued to yell at Jack. "Jack! Get up, Jack! It's coming! You have to get up! The lion is coming!" Before Parker could say more, the man had carried him out of the tent. As fire exploded along the cloth walls, Jack remembered where he was, and with that memory came a paralyzing fear. That's the end of chapter 1. You can tell that book gripped me when I first read it. End on a cliffhanger, why don't you? I'm very sorry for all of the stumbles I had in there. It's been so long since I've read out loud, so please be patient with me. At least I have my water here. So if you have any tips that you would like to mention of how I could read better, or anything to say about the chapter, then please put them in the comments. I would really like some tips about how to read better out loud. I really enjoy doing that. I just get so tongue-tied. I think most of it is practice, but a little bit of advice couldn't hurt. So I'm going to try to read some of this book every once in a while. I hope you guys enjoy it, because I love this book. And just let me know what you think along the way, and whether or not you think I should continue reading out loud. I'll probably at least finish this book, but there are 2 others. It just depends on if this is a complete and utter disaster. But anyway, for now, I need to go get back to my family. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you when I read the next chapter. Bye!